Good morning, children. Today we start our second part of our history chapter, class 7th, Spread of Christianity. In our previous class, we have studied about the fall of Roman Empire, about the Byzantium, and about the spread of Christianity. In this chapter, in this portion of this chapter, we study about the Crusades and the monasteries. What are these monasteries? So we'll start from the Crusades. What is this crusade? In a simple term, we can say that it's a war fought between Christians and the Muslims. So first of all, we'll see that what are the circumstances that led to this war. The Turks attacked the Byzantine Empire in the year 1453. They captured Jerusalem. This Jerusalem, Nazareth, and all these places are considered as the holy land of Christians. And this area, this portion of Jerusalem and the holy land of Christians was occupied by the Ottoman Turks. The Byzantine Empire, Alexius, asked Pope Urban II for help, and the Pope asked the Christians to participate in the holy war. The Pope said that if you are participating in this war, if we are helping the king to fight against the Ottoman Turks, to accept also or get our place back, our Jerusalem and the Holy Land back, he promised that those who people are participating in that, they'll be freed from all their sins. So the people they became attracted towards this war, and many nobles and many rulers and the European, most of the countries of Europe took part in it. The holy war, it was a holy war, we can say. This is the explanation or the clear thing which you can write for the exam also. What is a crusade? The holy war fought between the Christians and the Muslims. We can say that it is a military expedition organized by the Western Christians in response to the Muslim wars of expedition which happened during the 11th century. The main objective or aim of the crusades were to check the spread of Islam, to retake control of the Holy Land, to spread Christianity, and to recapture the former Christian territory. So these are the four main objectives or the aims of the Crusaders. So what are the main objectives or the aims of Crusaders? They fought for to stop or to check the spread of Islam and to retake the control of Holy Land, their Jerusalem, Nazareth, and all those places. And they want to spread Christianity and to recapture the Christian territories. Now the Crusaders were, we can say that what happened in the crusade. The Crusaders were at the beginning it was a success, and and founded a Christian state of Palestine and Syria. But later what happened? The continued growth of the Islamic State ultimately led to the failure of the Crusaders. But the beginning it was a success, but later it started becoming a failure. The Crusaders could not drive the Turks out of the Holy Land, but the Holy War brought about many changes in the culture and life of the medieval Europe, because during that time many people from different part of the world came together, and in such cases what happened, their culture, their tradition and their lifestyle mixed up, and that led to the formation of a new enlightened thing that happened during 15th century. We call it as Renaissance or a rebirth. It happened due to Renaissance. Now you can see a video of Renaissance.
The Crusades were military campaigns waged by Western European Christians during the Middle Ages for the defense and expansion of Christendom. What made a crusade distinct was that warriors involved in the fighting received spiritual merit, usually a plenary indulgence granted by the Pope. A crusade was considered by Western European Christians to be a holy act, an act of sacrifice and piety for the love of Christ. 4 centuries before the beginning of the Crusades, the first Muslim armies swept out of Arabia to conquer Palestine, Syria, Mesopotamia, Egypt, North Africa, and Spain, some 2/3 of the Christian world. Between the 7th and 11th centuries, Christians fought wars against Muslims to prevent them from making further conquests into Christian territory, or to reconquer what had already been captured. In Spain, Christian kingdoms waged wars to recapture their homeland from the Arabs, while the Byzantine Empire in the east was engaged in centuries of war with the Muslims for control of Anatolia and other regions. In the 11th century, the Seljuk Turks, recent converts to Islam, swept through Syria and Palestine. In 1071, they defeated the Byzantines at the Battle of Manzikert, conquering almost all of Anatolia. In response, Pope Urban II called the First Crusade, asking knights from all over Europe to band together and push back the Seljuks. Over the 12th and 13th centuries, the popes called more crusades to the Holy Land and also called for crusades in Spain to help push back the Muslim powers. Crusades against Muslims were not called with the intention of converting them to Christianity. Rather, they were called to regain control of territory that had been previously Christian but had fallen to Muslim armies. Jerusalem had been conquered by the Muslims in 637 and was considered particularly important to Western Christians since it was the site of Christ's crucifixion. Indeed, Jerusalem was revered as the holiest site in the Christian cosmos, and it was particularly important to Western Europeans that it be brought again under Christian rule. When in the 11th century, news arrived that Christian pilgrims traveling to Jerusalem were being harassed and killed by the Seljuk Turks, this fact alone inspired many knights to join the First Crusade. Although the Crusades were called to reclaim lands, greed was not a primary motivation. Professor Jonathan Riley Smith, the world's foremost expert on Crusades history, has proven that crusading was incredibly dangerous and expensive, and that virtually none of the knights who went could expect to gain wealth. Indeed, they often bankrupted themselves crusading. The primary motivation for crusading was spiritual, with the knights joining because they believed that they were doing God's work by fighting to protect Christian pilgrims and to reclaim holy sites like Jerusalem, and that involving themselves in a crusade would win them spiritual merit. The Crusades to the Holy Land saw many failures but also many successes. The First Crusade and the Third Crusade, for example, were both very successful, though ultimately later, at the close of the 13th century, the last Crusader holdings in Syria and Palestine would be captured by the Muslim Mamluk Empire. However, the Crusades in Spain achieved lasting victory, with the whole of Spain being ultimately recaptured by the Christians. Later Crusades.
Now, let's see the consequences of the crusade. Before that, I think you understood about the crusade. It's a war which was fought between Christians and the Muslims for the Holy Land. And many European countries joined due to so many reasons. And later, what happened at the beginning, it was a success, but later the Ottoman Turks became more powerful, and these people, they were not able to withstand that. Now, what are the consequences for the crusade? The crusades brought the people of Europe in the contact with the civilization of Greek and the Muslims. So the people who were gone for the crusade, they came in contact with people of different part of the world, and thus resulted in the mixing up of our culture, and the culture, their civilization, everything started mixing up. It paved the way for Renaissance, which was called as a rebirth. It happened in the 15th century. The Crusaders encouraged trade and commerce in the 12th and 13th century. It is between East and the Western countries. So it also paved the way for trade between East and the Western countries. The growth and prosperity of people demanded better condition of law and order. And what happened? Decline of feudalism, increase in the power of king. All these things happened as a consequence of the crusade. So once again we'll see that again the crusade brought the people together, and mixing up of culture happened, and it paved the way for Renaissance. And the crusade also encouraged trade, and the last one is the growth and prosperity of the people. They after doing trade, they became rich, so they demanded the king to give them more good law and order, more protection. Military service become more important, and along with that, during that time, feudalism or the hierarchy of the landlords started declining, and there was also the increase of power of kings. The knights and the landlords lost their power, and the king became more powerful during the time. And these are the main consequences which we can say about the crusade. So crusade is a war which was fought for regaining the Christian based place like Jerusalem and the nearby areas, and along with that, it was a war fought between Christians and Muslims. And this crusade made so many impact. It was not just a war; it was a war which made so many good impacts. That's why it became very famous and popular and very important in our history. Now, the next portion of our chapter is about the monasteries. What is a monastery? Can say that a monastery is a place where the monks and the nuns live. Who is a monk and a nun? A person who devote his whole life for God and for humanity is called a monk. And many monasteries emerged in Europe during this time, during the early medieval period. And the monasteries are the place where a monk live. And these monks usually live in a small community. It's a community of priests, and they devote their life to spiritual matters and to the service of the society. That is their main aim. Their life is devoted to the God, and along with that, they are the people who do service to humanity. The women who are devoted their life to the God, they are called as nuns, and they live in a separate monastery called as convent and nunneries. The life of the nuns are also devoted to prayer and their service to sick, poor, and the weak people. And the monasteries and this usually work as an education center also. Monks and nuns they cannot marry, and had a led a simple life according to they are having a code of law. According to that, they have to live. They are having a rigid code of conduct, and according to that, they have to live. And their life is not as simple as a common man. And such and such, so many practices, so many vows or promises they have to take throughout their life. This code, the code of conduct of the nuns and monks, and they give stress on the resistance to material temptations and on self sacrifices, pursuit of goodness, etc., are the main thing which they have to follow in their life. Now these people live in nunneries and the monasteries, and they live a separate life than a common man. Monasteries help in spread of Christianity in Europe and in other part of the world. Many monks educate children, and their main theme is not only spreading their religion, they also give education. The monasteries also worked as an education center. Some of the monasteries, they developed to some famous universities like our Oxford University, Cambridge University, etc. Monasteries also played a significant or important role in preserving and spreading knowledge. They also gives importance to spreading knowledge, and they also gives importance to spreading the ideas of Christianity throughout the world. Now, these monasteries did a great service to mankind, and their motto or their promise or their main theme of their religion is and the main theme of these monasteries is to serve service to society. Their main aim is to give service to society and to deal with all the poor, sick, and all such type of people. Monasteries emerged as a center of art, architecture, etc., and they encourage architecture, wood carvings, mural paintings, art of making stained glass, etc., are some of the works done by them. Now, at the last, we can see that these people not only do all the art and architecture, they were giving importance to agriculture also. Monasteries had their own land. Along with that, some barren lands are also taken by these people, and these people used to do agriculture there. Monks and serfs cultivate land, and they clear jungle, they cultivate crops, and they help the poor people. And thus we can say that between 600 CE to 1500 CE, the church became the main cultural institution in Europe, and it also played a very important role in spreading Christianity and spreading a new thought or new enlightened thought to the people. And we can say it as a brief that in Europe the monasteries, they helped in the spread of Christianity, helped in spreading education and learning, and preserved knowledge by preparing manuscripts. They also made so many manuscripts. They wrote the Bible, and they converted to different languages. Like that, so many works they have done. They encouraged art, architecture. They served humanity, and also contributed to the economic development. So these are the main important thing which we have to study in this chapter. I think you have enjoyed and you have understood about this chapter, and now you can read it. You can do the exercise, and question answers are already given. Learn that. Thank you.